Podcast. I'm Gwen Douglas.
I'm Emily Harmon.
And once again, this is Juice Podcast. Today we're doing
Nebbiolo.
Nebbiolo.
The Queen of Grapes.
Yes.
I think the Queen of Grapes. My favourite grape variety in the whole wide world.
I really love Nebbiolo. It's honestly not something I buy so much, but when I have it, it's a real treat.
I think it's a great variety. For me, I mean, I could drink Nebbiolo on a beach, which sounds quite extreme to a lot of people, but I think it's a great variety that can be...
So I just imagined you right now in a gimp mask or something, like lounging out in some latex in your Nebbiolo on a beach.
Maybe
like,
not
I don't
a gimp
know why
mask.
that was like all in latex, like Berghain at the beach.
Gwen's revealing a little bit too much about her taste.
I don't know why it was just so funny.
We're not all into that, but good to know.
But we do live in Berlin.
Yeah, I won't be going to the beach with Gwen anytime soon.
Me and my burkini.
Do you want to go for a swim? No, I'm okay.
Good
Are you sure you don't want to cool down? No, it's fine. I don't want to sweat in another mask on the beach. So, anyway, yeah. So it is a great variety that probably is a little bit like wearing a gimp mask on the beach. Actually, it's not unfair. Like, it's not an unfair thing because I think it is. For a lot of people, hard to understand because it's a great variety that produces wines that have high alcohol. Usually the wines are sort of, never less than 13.5%, usually 14.5%. They have high acidity, high tannin. So what you do get is this, and quite different
to the max.
Yeah, and quite different to like wines from Bordeaux, for example, that are high alcohol, sometimes high acidity, but high tannin. They're quite extracted and there's lots of fruit, whereas this is almost like, imagine like a bony woman, like there is no sort of fat on the wines. A bit like maybe if she was a bit skinnier and moodier.
No, I'm definitely having like some goth babe vibes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
high cheekbones, a little gaunt,
and
like
quite broody.
Yes, I like
it. Brooding, not broody. Sorry, big difference there. It's desperate for a child, but I think there is a moody, sultry vibe to Nebbiolo actually. Maybe that's probably why I like it so much because I'm moody. But I think dark. But I think what I love about it is it's got a very perfumed, unique nose, like the classic tasting note, which again very gothic, tar and roses, tattoo.
I know, it's like the goth.
Like the heart with a dagger inside and roses around the outside.
I was
so
such
emo.
a goth child. Yes. This is like, I think this is definitely why I always love this.
Yeah, but I think so for me, that's what I love about it because I think there's an allure and a mysterious nature to this varietal that makes it very, very inviting.
Yes,
I feel like I'm pulled in every time. And they're wines that actually need a lot of aging. So again, you really have to love the grape variety because when they are just released, they are quite tough. They're incredibly tannic, very dry. They're difficult wines, especially if you're not eating for some people. But it's a Pandora's box. Once I think you go in there's way more things to...
Cool, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited because you brought these today.
Yes. Do you want to open one? I'll open one.
Do I have to
Where's
open
your
it with
bottle
this
opener?
horrible contraption?
The tyke opener.
The tyke, like you're using the phrase now too. Hashtag tyke opener. Someone please send me a better tyke opener. This one, it even says Bouteille d'Esprit Rouge.
I know, we went over this already, but yeah.
Did we? I don't remember. Bottle of a red spirit.
All I know is last time you used it, you threw it into the corner. And you thought
get rid of it.
You thought it
last forever with the plants.
You thought it would stay there.
You could like hide it in the ivy up there or something.
But it didn't. I went and got it.
Like it's even like.
So the tyke opener for everybody that's on audio is a bottle-shaped bottle opener that's basically plastic, and actually that was not bad.
That was not a bad open.
It was efficient. Yeah. So we've got I chose two wines today, and I think obviously there are a few different appellations for Nebbiolo. So the sort of generic appellation being Langhi Nebbiolo or Nebbiolo d'Alba, Nebbiolo d'Asti. They're sort of the more generic sort of good entry points for the Nebbiolo drinker because they tend to be a little bit lower in tannin, a bit softer, a bit more primary fruit sort of coming out, and a bit easier going. And then we have appellations in the northern part I didn't even mention, sorry, we're in Piemonte and northwest, of Italy, Piemonte. And then we have appellations in the northern part of Piemonte, like Valtellina. Valtellina technically actually is Lombardy, but Spanna, Bocca, Gattinara, Gemme are the appellations for Nebbiolo, but they tend to be a little bit different in style because they're all about the acid structure because it's cooler climate, lots of limestone as well.
So today we are in one region?
We're focusing on Barolo today.
Yes.
The key, which I think is, this is Von Romane, this is Chevry Chambertin, this is Chambolle Musigny, this is holy ground for this varietal, and the most long-lived appellation in terms of the wines coming from here have the longest ageability as well.
I actually think also it's like having a Louis Vuitton handbag. So like Barolo is that like name of like people that. Would I be wrong? I think a lot of people that like maybe don't know tons about wine know a few names, and Barolo is going to be one of them. Chianti's another one, especially like North Americans. You know, these sort of like star wines from Europe that like are must-haves or at least must-tries.
Yes.
So I think this is definitely one of those like.
I agree. I think it's definitely. The name is associated with luxury, it's associated with high quality wine.
Right.
And it needs to be high quality wine because there is a minimum aging of 3 years. It has to have at least 2 ages in wood, and then it has to have 1 year in bottle before release. So there is an investment from the winery. Yeah, you can't just make fruity, easy wine.
I mean, the colour of this
is
like...
It's not possible.
Gorgeous. It's like red velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So typically, Nebbiolo always has a garnet colour, even from when it's young. So it never takes on this purple ruby colour. Right. It always takes on this slightly orange tone.
And that would be from the aging?
No. Even
just
from when it's young. That's the varietal,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
And it's an interesting grape variety. So Nebbiolo.
So you would never be able to like colour-wise see that it's like super
not unless
young.
unless it's really industrially made with lots of new oak and different things that could be added and extracted to produce a different colour. In general, almost always this garnet colour. So a lot of people associate garnet with an aged wine, but that's always one of the things that if you see this garnet colour, it could be an indication it's Nebbiolo. And I think it's got such a distinct personality. It's so funny because in the past when I've done blind wine tastings and I smell it and or I smell a wine, I'm like, is it Nebbiolo or not? And I've learnt the lesson of if I don't know 100% it's Nebbiolo,
don't
it's
say
not it.
Yeah.
No, because it's so distinct. It's like
I do have to say when I took my like exam,
you caught the master's introductory,
that a lot of like people were throwing out Nebbiolo all the time. That like everyone wanted it to be Nebbiolo all the time. So it was like, and then someone would look at them like, that's not But it was definitely one that would be like Nebbiolo.
It's funny, because it's funny. I always get this out actually when I do the wine trainings at Michelberger, or when I'm putting wines. I often give them wines that taste a bit like Nebbiolo because they know I love Nebbiolo so much. They always think I'm giving them that. And I'm like, it's not Nebbiolo because of this. This particular grape variety produces long aging wines, so wines that can at least. Like minimum, usually they're ready to drink within Barolo, the appellation itself, due to the production method with the aging 2 years in oak, or not necessarily oak but in wood, because it can be chestnut too, and the aging in bottle, and it being quite a tannic grape variety, an acidic grape variety. It's a grape variety that actually sort of comes into its own around the 10-year period. For me, it's like when I love to drink it, but it can last sort of 40, 50 years. I've tried some that are 50 years old that still have life in.
I'm
easily.
Always so impressed with it.
And for that reason, I think that's why the tradition has been kept in this region and with this varietal, because actually observing it and observing how it reacts to different things you do in the cellar, that process is so much slower because it has that long ageability period. And I actually think so many producers probably just value it for its traditional style as well. So I know I certainly do.
So romance about that.
Yeah. And the name itself, Nebbiolo, just for anybody that's not familiar with that, so the name itself comes from the word nebbia, which means fog. So the region itself, because it's on sort of, it's interesting because it looks a bit like Burgundy in a way, but a more elevated way, because you have these little hilltop towns and then sort of carpets of vineyards sort of all over the region. So it's one of those incredible places where you're just surrounded by vineyards,
Amazing.
which isn't the case with a lot of wine regions, but for Burgundy and for Barolo, that is the case. And this particular grape variety ripens quite late in the season.
Okay.
So when it is on the vines, like the fog starts to come through
beautiful.
and everything as well. Yeah.
It is very romantic.
It is, I know. All kinds of autumn mystery and
Maybe
classic
this should be our
matching.
Halloween episode.
Yes. But this is this particular grape, classic pairing. Obviously, white truffles is the main thing for this, and I think often because there is a truffly note in the wine. So, so tar, roses. It's incredibly aromatic. So you have this amazing floral perfume, but then this crazy sort of like earthy, savoury undertone.
It's a yin and yang.
Yeah.
Feminine and masculine in one.
More yin, I think.
I think it's definitely more
Yin,
feminine, but there's still like it's a strong lady. It's a lady in an 80s power suit. She's got some shoulder pads. It's a black velvet. I really like.
So this wine that we're trying now is 2014 Barolo Cannubi from Chiara Boschis. So Cannubi being one of the sort of top vineyards actually around the appellation of Barolo. So there's multiple towns or sub-appellations within Barolo. So the key ones mainly being Barolo. We also have Serralunga, Monforte, La Mora. So Barolo and La Mora tend to produce sort of the more feminine styles of Barolo, and Serralunga and Monforte being a little bit more structured, a little bit more age-worthy almost, because they're a bit more tannic, and let's say the old-fashioned word of masculine. Trying to move away.
I know it's
from
hard.
that
I know the
a bit
gendered
more.
sort of right, actually.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit more difficult, and I feel a little bit out of date with that, with using those terms. But
I need to get on that too, because it's true. It's the same in anything. It's like, how do you describe these things without them being necessarily gendered?
Yes.
It's a challenge. It's good.
Yes.
It's good to challenge ourselves.
So La Mora and Barolo being a little bit more softer, let's say, a little bit more elegant, and the others being a bit more structured and a bit more dense. Yes.
More dense, I think.
Yeah. So this is from a single vineyard, so Cannubi. Multiple producers have vines in the Cannubi vineyard. This is where Barolo also has things in common with Burgundy, with vineyards identified of high quality, and multiple producers
in the
having
same
vines from those vineyards. Chiara has 0.7 of a hectare of this, so it's not a large amount, but enough that it's a fair amount of a good vineyard. It's all mostly a little bit of sand, but clay or limestone, which is very typical for the region. A bit like Burgundy as well. Soils.
Yeah, funny. It's just the
and she's kind of known as being the first woman producing Barolo, let's say, or one of the first female winemakers in the area.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
There are more now, but she was sort of one of the first doing it. Yeah.
So would you say this is a classic?
No, this is a little bit more modern, because she's not using. So traditionally, you do longer macerations in old chestnut botti.
Okay.
So like large sort of oval oak barrels, but she's using barrels, I think, and they're different ages, so it's a little bit more modern, but I still like her style.
How would you describe the modernness then?
Using smaller oaks, so the oak imparts a little bit more flavour sometimes, and also helps soften the tannins early doors, and shorter maceration times, pumping over, and to sort of extract more colour. And you'll see, because we're going to go to Roagna, which is a bit more traditional after. So there's a good, for me, interesting, because they're both working, well, Chiara's certified organic as well. And then we're going to go to Roagna after, which is a sort of step further.
Yeah, and like, there is something sort of like tomatoey. I don't know if that's like...
Yeah.
Why I asked.
For me though, that tarry sort of almost chemically note.
Totally. I think like I've been like trying to figure out what's like beyond that particular smell that's in there. That's why I was asking.
But it's quite umami, because it's kind of got this sweet, and I understand what you mean by tomato, because
it's just like a ragu-y,
but then
like
this sort of
vegetally something happening. That's why I was asking if it was a.
And it's quite
a
close
classic
now. Like, if
example.
we kept this open in a glass, like
it would develop a little bit.
But I didn't. We could have decanted them before, but I think.
No, I kind of like also seeing the development in the glass a little bit while we're chatting sometimes.
Yeah. And I think when you speak to a lot of Barolo producers, and my friend Mark Andrew from Nova Rock will attest to this, and when we drink Nebbiolo together, we refuse to decant it because it's like, this is the way to drink it. It opens up in the glass as you drink it. We never.
You go on a journey. Take me on the journey.
Yeah, it's like Pinot Noir. Don't decant it. So. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Also, just one thing to point out, this is a typical bottle shape, the Alvesa bottle. That's produced in Piemonte, so it's slightly different to other places. So it's kind of a burgundy bottle, but it's slightly different. You see
what's slightly different
the
about
shape of it. See how
it's
slightly on a slight angle that slopes down.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a typical bottle from the region.
And this is not.
No, it's not. No,
it's not.
Yeah, which is choices, exactly. What's your food pairing, Gwen?
I was actually, because I was having this like tomatoey moment, I mean, there are lots of things you could eat with this, to be honest. Lots of things. You could go super simple and just do like meat and veg. Like a nice little steak would be delicious with some potatoes and waxy beans. Or you could even eat it with a ragu, would be delicious.
Amazing. This would be great with tomato-based sauces, because tomato sauces need wine that has almost like this slight bitterness with it, because tomato sauce does. I think also, I love that you said steak, because often when people are thinking about meat and steak and grilled meats, they're always thinking that it needs to be almost like a, it's like a power.
Punch,
so it's like, I need something really big, I need an ostrich. Well, actually, for me, when I'm having protein, I mean, this wine completely comes alive when you're having protein. It's the tannin and the acid. But you also need to be able to digest that meat.
Yes.
And when it becomes too powerful, like the thing about this wine is it's incredibly powerful. It's got an amazing structure because everything's, the acid's high, the tannin's high, the alcohol's high. But it's incredibly elegant.
There's something really delicate about it too. That's the thing that's so funny, this conundrum about it, where it's like everything's big, but actually you're left with something that feels really delicate and refined and like...
It's a love affair.
Yeah, it's really like special in that way.
I think this is the most romantic grape variety that exists today.
So the heartbreak grape, better watch out.
Oh yeah, I mean I would choose Nebbiolo over Pinot Noir every single day.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah. But I do think that Nebbiolo appeals to the Pinot Noir drinker and vice versa.
Yeah, totally. I mean I love Pinot Noir, so...
Yeah, and I do think that like, when I think about Italy, for example, and I think about the iconic wines of Italy, so I think about Barolo, for example, I always think, okay, I would recommend that to the person that drinks Burgundy. Sangiovese, you could go either way, depending on who's made it. It could go more to Burgundy, but it could also go to the Bordeaux drinker.
Yeah.
Amarone, like the wines from the Veneto. Yeah, then you'd be more like Bordeaux territory there, or maybe like Southern Rhone, like Chateauneuf-du-Pape.
Yes, see that's the big reds.
Yeah.
But I think why I like this is it is that conundrum of like being big and soft
elegant
at the same
graceful
time, but also strong and powerful at the same time. That's a really like, I mean that's an appealing mix in anything and anyone. So I think maybe that's why it's extra special. But yeah, like a steak, and I think that's the thing too. When people think
like
of
a very
steaks,
muscly ice dancer.
Ice dancer. I wish I was like better at editing, that I could like cut away to like a super muscly ice dancer for that.
That would be really funny. Yeah.
So you're just gonna have to imagine that.
Yeah.
But I think too, like people think, I don't know why people think like steak always has to be, because when I think of like, maybe the way that we make steak is usually like quite simple, just salt and pepper, not too much stuff going on. That like, if you're like covering your steak with heaps of spices, then maybe you're, But I think like I'm just imagining just like something small and light, something a bit meaty.
I'll put a steak at home. Taxi to here after and just grill the steak. What would be your choice? Pairing? Yeah. Meat. Yeah. You need it.
Yeah. It's funny, those are the two, like, the first thing that came to mind was actually this sort of like Italian ragu, but that's also just meat and tomato, super slow cooked, and then just something, and then something steaky. Yeah. Two meaty things.
Oh my god. Delicious.
Yeah, really delicious. Yum, 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 yum. Ooh, the colour on this.
Yeah, very yummy. So now we're trying 2011 Barolo Pira from Roagna.
So pretty.
So Roagna have probably, I would say, I would feel confident to say this, but I think Roagna have maybe a slightly more well-known reputation than Chiara. I think because they are falling into, they're at every single natural wine fair,
Okay.
many natural wine fairs. Winemaking's traditional. The same production methods have existed since the 1920s. They're 15 hectares in total, so a bit bigger because Chiara is around, I think she's around 5 hectares, 11 hectares, sorry, not, so a little bit bigger. But with some old vineyards, some of the vineyards are up to 100 years of age. But all completely natural farming, so no use of chemicals at all. And to the point where they, obviously the wine's not filtered, not fine, but really low levels of sulphur as well. So definitely on the natural side.
I'm excited to have a sniff.
And obviously we're seeing different age, but for me,
this is
this
more
is ready to drink.
Yeah, but this the smell already is
very open as well.
This has I feel like the tar is way more pronounced on this in a clearer.
And the
more
other thing that I always get is tobacco resin.
Yeah, I can see that.
Tobacco, it's floral. This for me has that sort of Bloody Mary mix thing going on a little bit in the background as well. It's very sort of.
I guess this is why
almost umami.
This wine is so popular. When I think of Barolo, I also think of men smoking cigars and doing manly things on leather chairs and I think of an
Italian. I think of an Italian charming man that I want to date that's maybe sipping on.
Yeah, I think maybe because I see it through the my first introductions to Barolo were when I was younger, living in North America. So it was that sort of the view of Europe through a North American's eyes, and I think that's why Americans are so obsessed with things like Chianti and Barolo.
Yes.
It's that the romance of the same vision that I had when I first thought of these wines of being I'm fancy and I'm doing European things in Europe.
It's almost like blood. It's very.
The color is actually stunning in the glass because you get this it's so pale and clear where you see the color.
Yeah,
and it's so black in the reflection that it's very high contrast.
Yeah, gothic.
It's very dramatic.
Hmm.
Because it's not just dark all the way through where you see nothing. It's
no, you're right.
It's yeah. I'd love to illustrate some Barolo if anyone wants me to draw some.
Yes. I'll make some one day and then you can do all the lips.
Do that cocktail series I've been doing with the girls in the ice cubes. I should start doing some wine girls. It's Pantone matching the colors.
That'd be amazing.
Putting some girls in some
She needs to be a brunette.
Oh, she would be. Would be very graphic. High contrast.
I think brunette and very slim. Not curvaceous.
No.
At all.
What's her name from I
think you'd be Viognier.
Yeah, I'm definitely not. I'm nowhere lean and mean.
No, you'd be no, but I think you'd be sexy and voluptuous, yeah.
I was
and white because of the hair, but I don't know.
Hair.
Or you'd be a bottle of champagne. I think you could also be vintage champagne, I reckon.
I'll take that.
I reckon you'd be more that because I think Viognier is too immediate and you're very layered and detailed. So I think you would be vintage champagne.
I'll take. I won't say
maybe
no.
in a coupe though. To make it a bit more fun.
Just say forgotten in the back of someone's off
You'll never forget.
I'm that vintage champagne that someone stocked at the off license and forgot that was there. No one will ever buy me for Christmas.
You'd never be that.
The dusty box in the back.
You'd be the prize that people only a few
Top
people
shelf.
would be able to spend time with.
That would have been a good name for a podcast.
Top shelf.
Top shelf.
But a bit elitist.
True.
Also,
you wouldn't want to call it
top shelf.
Bottom shelf.
Especially if they saw pictures of you because you've got pin up she's on the top shelf.
Top
it's
shelf.
a bit porn. It's a bit porn mag, isn't it?
Maybe I feel maybe we should do a series of bottom shelf, just the baddies.
We should, yeah.
Bottom shelf.
Bottom shelf, top shelf.
Bottom shelf.
Yeah, we need to start implementing segments like the high-low do.
I know, I like it.
I
Bottom
love
shelf.
that podcast so much.
Bottom shelf. What do you got?
So we're obviously having a really good time enjoying this wine.
Yes, it's taking us places.
Places that nobody probably wants to hear about, but we're
taking you there anyway. You're buckled in.
So expect Nebbiolo illustrations for the next month.
So you get wild.
Yeah.
No, this is really lovely.
Yeah.
Definitely different in terms of like, I feel like this is much more delicate in the mouth. It's stronger on the nose and more delicate in the mouth.
So I think this is because, one, the wine, obviously there are 2 factors here. 3, vintages are different, is number 1. 2, style of winemaking, this is more traditional, which is my personal preference, really lovely, yeah. Because I think the shape of the wine is different, the fruit comes through a little bit more, the shape of the tannins are different. But the main thing that we're also seeing, which I think everybody underestimates, is actually that little bit more time in bottle, that aging.
Softens everything.
Everything, and this is the sweet spot, this sort of age now, that I love sort of like 8 to 12 years, that little bracket for most high quality Barolos.
So I think,
it just becomes open from when you drink it, whereas I think maybe if we tried this in another minute, hour or so, excuse me, different thing altogether, whereas this is singing as it is right now, and I think my food pairings would be different with this too. Yeah, I mean, this for me, my all-time favourite pairing for Nebbiolo, you asked me before, I didn't really think it through, would be game birds, grouse.
Ooh, like grouse, pigeon.
Honestly, think about a medieval feast.
Oh yeah, bring it on. We still need to do a mead episode.
We do, medieval.
You know I love a pun.
But this really, I feel like, no I do, I feel like I could be sitting at Henry VIII's table, bottle of Barolo, and I want a grouse, and I want it to be bloody, and I want there to be like musket grapes. Like I had this dish the other day at the River Cafe, which I think is the epitome of probably the best wine pairing that could be for a bottle of Nebbiolo, and it was, or a bottle of Barolo. So it was whole roasted grouse in the wood-fired oven. That had Brunello actually poured over the top of it, and a piece of toast that had been under the bird and under musket grapes that had also been cooked.
Yum.
So it almost looked like a still life painting.
Oh, I love it.
It was so primitive and beautiful and medieval in the same way.
Visceral.
Visceral is a great word. So it was just so inviting, and then you just imagine like a bottle of this wine on the table, like, because this is almost bloody, you know. Like, this wine is the salt of
Which
the
is
earth.
funny because my idea with this one is like totally less bloody. I was thinking more like Carpaccio.
But that's bloody. That's what
it is kind of bloody, yeah. But maybe like less medieval.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think like some
but imagine like
some truffly
like,
Carpaccio would be delicious.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, yours is quite a little bit more sophisticated.
Because I find that this one's actually,
this wine can handle a lot more than
maybe
I'm receiving. We're gonna go out for steak after this. Kebabs. Give us.
I'm gonna have to put that cold pizza back in the fridge.
Yes.
For another day.
Anyway, so that's a little bit of an introduction to Nebbiolo.
Delightful. I'm happy you took me there. It's very good.
If anybody has any questions about Nebbiolo, about Piemonte, love to answer them. Love to hear about the Nebbiolos that you like to drink.
Yeah, I was going to say, you or your dad, or your grandpa, or your cousins, or your mum.
I was about to say only male relatives.
No, I'm on it. I'm naming them all. You
have
some far distant cousins.
That are female and male.
And male. Or non-gendered.
That's true.
Also true.
No.
Anyway, all the people in your life, what kind of Nebbiolo do they like? Do you have favourite bottles? Do you not? Have you never tried it? We want to hear all of the things. And then you can find a snazzy tote bag as pictured here in the video.
Which is on our website, juice.show.
You can also find us on Twitter at
juice_podcast, sorry.
And on Instagram at juice.podcast. And we want to hear from you. We would like you to like tweet at us, everything, all of it. And we love that you all tune in, so thank you very much for tuning in. But please remember, if you're tuning in on YouTube, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Too Much Nebbiolo, and also on whatever platform that you're using for the podcast. It'd be great if you subscribe as well. Super. So I'm Gwen Douglas. I'm Emily Harmon. Cheers. Cheers. Salute. Salute. She's so international, this one.